Good letters, all good letters, good letters. I like the letters tonight, all good letters. Listen to this one. My sister died 2 months ago. Her widower husband is now shacking up with someone else. Terrific letter. Hi panel. Some people are just so far down the evolutionary scale it's insulting to the rest of us. Letter 2 and letter 3. What's the tactful way of throwing them out? What's that about? Tune in. 10 seconds to go. Terrific panel. All on Sweet and Sour coming up right now. Don't go away.
Got a problem, big or small, would a miracle be nice? Our motley crew is back, churning out advice. You might even laugh a bit in the following half hour. Park your backside on the couch, cause baby it's time for Sweet and Sour. Right here on
Good evening everyone, welcome to Sweet and Sour. Lovely to have your company. Gary Mitchell with you for the next half an hour and a terrific lot of panellists who you're about to meet. First up tonight, a good mate of ours. Hello Jason Weeks.
Gary Mitchell, pleasure to be here.
Now you're a bit of a, what would we say, a celebrity now. Go on, tell them.
Former celebrity. Oh, the surfing, yes.
By the way.
Yes, did I mention?
Go on.
I recently attended the Australian National Longboard titles and I'm happy to say I came back as the highest rated Western Australian. I got 4th at the national titles. So. Yes. It's somewhat weird to be applauded for going surfing, but there you go.
Is there a lot of money in it?
None whatsoever.
But surely at the top of the tree there's a lot of people making lots of money.
No, oh, look,
around the world.
In the professional world of surfing on the World Championship Tour.
Didn't people like Midge Farrelly make a lot of money out of it?
Actually, Midge never made a whole lot back in the day.
Didn't he?
No, it was all about contra deals. So he never paid for food, never paid for drinks, always had cars given to him. It was back in those days. Don't get me wrong, like Taj Burrow, proud West Australian.
Yeah.
He's currently sitting at number 3 in the world, I think. He'd be looked down a barrel of $2.5 million this year. But I'm not.
Not a lot of money.
I'm not Taj Burrow.
Not a lot.
It's a little.
Different age. Ever been surfing, Joie?
I have, yes.
Have you really?
Yep, I used to live in Dunsborough, so...
And welcome to the show too.
Thank you very much.
You lived in Dunsborough?
Yes.
Why would you choose to actually extricate yourself from Dunsborough and move to the
Well,
city?
that's right. I think I'd had enough of the surfy boys, so...
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I decided to go back to Perth and go to uni, so yeah.
And we seat you right next to one.
That's right.
just you know, some of your... Have you been there before, actually? No, we'll talk about that during the break.
I've been to Dunsborough, yes.
My mate AJ's here too. Hello, AJ.
Hi, gorgeous. How you going?
I'm good.
Fabulous.
It's been absolutely ages. One thing after another. Can't come, Mitch. I'm crook. I'm this. I'm that. Are we okay tonight?
Well, now that you sent me the roses and we seem to be back on track, we're good.
That's
We're good
okay.
to go.
You got the key for the hotel room
I've missed
tonight?
you.
You
Absolutely.
have. I'm pleased. The roses did the trick then. I hope your husband doesn't see this one tonight. What have we
He's
got
a
as
big, strong man.
Did we correct that super at the bottom?
No, I think they're playing tricks on us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tricks? I believe it. Okay. We'll correct it afterwards, Matt. Very nice. Nice to have you back, babe.
Thanks.
Geoffrey Winteron.
Hi, Gary. Hi.
I read another one of your reviews last week in the Echo newspaper.
Thank you, Gary.
Fantastic. You must be...
Yes.
Well, you're certainly my favourite reviewer of movies because every time I pick something up, I want to go and see the movie.
Oh, Gary, yes, so do I. I want to see it too.
It's the only reason you're on the show. You're a fantastic reviewer.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I do like going to the cinema very much.
AJ, have you read any of Geoffrey's reviews?
No, I haven't.
I'm going to email you some of Geoffrey's reviews.
I think he's got some on him.
I brought
Has
them
he?
with me.
Yeah, he has.
Yes.
What about reviews? Oh, never. Okay. All right, here we go. You ready to do some work?
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Hello, Mitch and panellists. I'm so incensed. My sister died 2 months ago and her widower husband, for whom I felt an enormous amount of sorrow, has turned into a selfish pig. I invited him and his 2 teenage kids to my place for Father's Day so that they would spend it with family and not feel lonely. Lonely my foot. He called and asked if he could bring a friend, and of course I said that would be fine. When they walked in on the day, the friend turned out to be a girlfriend who has already shamelessly shacked up with him. I composed myself on the day for the sake of the kids, who are still grieving so much for their mother. I just don't know what to do. I picked up the phone to blast him at least 6 times and hung up before connecting each time. I just can't believe how callous he is to the memory of my sister and the feelings of his kids and all of us, her family. My mother hasn't seen him since the funeral and I can't bring myself to tell her. This whole thing is just surreal and I can't figure what is the appropriate course of behaviour for all concerned here. Please advise. It comes to us all the way from South Australia writing Carol of Mile End. AJ, going to you. How would you feel about this bloke if your sister fell off the perch and 2 months afterwards, her husband of many years, because they've got kids,
Yes.
shacked up with someone else?
I know. Well, I've got to admit, I have told my husband that on my passing before him, he is to shack up with no one for the rest of his existence on Earth. So, I mean, I am a bit
Otherwise, he gets
conflicting.
none of your inheritance,
I'll haunt
right?
him, yeah. So I do think there is a bit of, I think 2 months is too soon for me. I just think, you've got children, this woman was the love of your life, you married her. So I do understand from Karen's point of view, that her sister's memory's there and she's, feeling that it's being disrespected. So I'm with you, but I don't think say anything to him. I think stay away from it because, you want to see your nieces and nephews, you want to see the children again. I think if you ring him up and blast him, he's just going to lock you out of his world and he's not going to have anything to do with you. And I think that you really need to stay with those children because you're a connection to their mother and they're going to be grieving their mother.
You just shut up. Don't say anything.
I don't think it's right, but I don't think it's the time. He's grieving. It's how he's dealing with it, and I think the children are the most important factor in this. And
What do
she
you do
needs
for
to
the
look
kids
after
then?
them.
Shut up. For the sake of the kids?
I think she needs to, when she's got the children with her, talk about their mother and remember and reminisce and give that to them. But if he's in the room, if that's his wishes, well then that's.
Do you think he's being
Don't
a
invite
pig?
him over again. I think he's a pig, but don't invite him over
Geoffrey,
again.
is this man a pig or is he going through grief of his own? That's his way of dealing with
Well, I
it.
think he's going through grief of his own here. But I'm curious about how long has he had this girl before,
Oh, you think it might have gone on beforehand?
I think so. Like, I've done a lot
Where's
of
he
notes here in regard to this as
Actually,
well.
Geoffrey, that's a good point. If he's been grieving for 2 months and he's been looking after the kids, where would he be to have met someone new?
And I think too, this is a person that probably finds it very difficult to express himself. So, grief is a very difficult thing to go through. It takes a long time for some people.
Is he being heartless?
No, I don't think he's being heartless at all.
What's he being?
I just think that it's a very, very strong period of grief. I really do. And I think he's not committed to it as yet, or not committed to actually expressing, like introducing the girl and to the kids and everything. I think it's a very strong case of grief.
Sorry.
Joey wants... No, jump in, Joey.
Don't you think that also the children deserve their time of grief as well, grieving
Yeah.
for their
Yeah, so I mean,
mother?
overall, I think
if the girlfriend is always there, always around the children, and they're not allowed to talk about their mother as well, then it really doesn't let them grieve. And I think it's
affected
quite,
everyone. The whole setup is
yeah.
rather,
I think there
very
needs to be like
difficult
a 1 to 2 year period between
just for yourself.
taking a new, substantial
Joey?
other.
1 to 2
Yep.
years?
Yep, one year.
Well, the grieving period, they say, takes a minimum of 18 months.
Spouse die on them. Hands up. Anyone?
No.
Okay, I don't think we should be setting this fixed in stone stuff. Having said that, if you break up with a girlfriend, don't get a new girlfriend within 2 months. Take a bit of time out and reassess the situation. We're talking about a dead wife with 2 teenage kids to look after. I agree. How on earth has he met someone, let alone shacked up? I'm not up to date with all the current terminology. Sorry, Karen from Ireland in South Australia.
Too, Jason, that can be a form to replace someone very quickly as a form of. It's still a form of grieving. Yeah, it is.
definitely
Yeah.
a form of grief.
It's, and
Could you ever
to
see
sit there alone and.
Question. Are the kids going to resent him once they've finished grieving?
Once they finish
once they
grieving, I
look at
wouldn't
it.
be surprised if they're already resenting him. I know people whose husband and wife break up. The wife's perfectly healthy and alive, and the husband gets a new girlfriend. The kids don't dig it. So with mum barely having the sand thrown over top of her.
What does Karen do? What does Karen do? Does she shut her mouth
Yes, I think so.
and let things take their own course? Or should she intervene?
I think for the benefit of her mother, because let's not forget that we're talking about a mum who's lost a child.
Yes.
For the benefit of her mother,
Yep.
I would strongly suggest to the husband that he doesn't bring the little scamp with her when he comes. So by all means have a girlfriend, by all means replace your girlfriend, but he's still got to think about how the rest of the family is dealing with losing their sister, daughter, mother.
All right, well, when we come back, we talk about some other people who are just so far down the evolutionary scale it's insulting to the rest of us. When we come back, we're talking about... No, we're not talking about evolution. We're talking about HIV and AIDS. When we come back, don't go away. and overall package. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. Person?
The person, I think, is a very nice
Is
person.
it out of 10?
The overall package.
No, I refuse.
You don't know who we're talking about.
Multi-millionaire as well, remember?
She is a multi-millionaire. Welcome back to Sweet and Sour. If you'd like to send a letter to this panel, send it to the address that's appearing on your screen right now, which is sweetandsour@iinet.net.au. It'll land here. And for every letter that we like and we decide to discuss, we're going to send you to the movies, courtesy of the gorgeous Natalie Cameron and NRC Communications. And the movie we're sending you to this week, when it starts, is Australia, starring
Hugh Jackman.
and
Nicole Kidman.
who's about an 8 or
A 2.
a 2 or a... Okay,
I
we'll
love
see.
Nicole Kidman. Don't pick on Nicole Kidman.
He gave her an 8.
Yeah, go Rangers.
Because she's a multi-millionaire.
That's
Part of it. That was part of it.
Hi, panel. Some people are just so far down the evolutionary scale it's insulting to the rest of us. Reason and reality are clear for any intelligent-minded people who care to use their grey matter. When an eminent medical authority advocated the commonsensical idea of isolating people with HIV and AIDS to their own island to restrict this terrible infection's growth, the unintelligent outpouring of emotional, negative reaction was both completely deafening and irrational. I understand now why so many of my friends say that democracy is overrated, because the idiots get a say as well. If we are talking about making sure our species is protected from becoming extinct by this growing scourge, why will these bleeding hearts refuse to see the necessary solutions? And it comes to us from Paul of Balcatta in Western Australia. Jace.
Well, there are times when you're proud to put your hand up and say, I'm a Western Australian, and Paul, guess what? Not today, buddy. I really would like to go into this. I have this rule about I refuse to do a battle of wits with someone who's totally unarmed. You're a tool. Look, let me just explain a few things. I find it useful to be pedantic with people who use ridiculously grandiloquent and verbose language. Now, you've tried to find every 2 or 3 syllable word you know and string them all together in one hit.
Verbose.
Let me tell you that unintelligible outpouring of emotional negative reaction was irrational, because emotional and irrational are the same thing. If it's rational, then it's not emotional, is it? Tool. Anyway, so what Paul from Balcatta, proud West Australian that he is saying that anyone who has HIV and AIDS, and he's called it an infection, not sure that's 100% accurate either, it should be off on an island somewhere. Now, about 30 years ago when we first heard about AIDS, people thought you could catch it off toilet seats. Nowadays, the non-down the evolutionary scale people know that it's not a socially contractable. You don't just shake hands with someone and get AIDS.
It's not airborne.
We need, what we do need, the necessary solutions that you so obtusely refer to in the last sentence of your question. The necessary solutions are education, prevention, health, and
More education.
maybe people like Paul from Balcatta shouldn't breed again.
Okay.
That's all.
Joey, you said it's not airborne. If it was airborne...
Well, it's just, what I'm saying is that, like, Paul's coming to this with ideals that are
Dated.
they're so old school, like ridiculous. And we live in this educated world, and you know, there's people, and he's making a great point. Democracy is so overrated because idiots get a say as well. Well, guess what, Paul? You're one of them. You know, like, how can this guy walk around thinking that people with HIV or AIDS should be located to an island? That's like saying, like, where do you draw the line? Because you're talking about infections, viruses, things like that. So
Go to Rotto.
Bird flu? Okay, so bird flu is airborne. So we...
What do we do?
Shoot the birds.
No,
So
but
is
if
the
you
horse
get-
virus.
Okay, I was in Korea when there was SARS
Yeah.
in China, and then it came to Korea as well.
Yeah.
Now, so people are isolated because it is airborne, and everyone in the whole of Korea was wearing masks.
Masks,
Okay?
and in Hong Kong,
Yeah.
and then it was right throughout
Exactly.
Asia. Yeah.
However, we are educated on HIV and AIDS, so this kind of idea is ludicrous. It's absolutely ludicrous.
Does
I
it-
can't disagree enough.
Does it add any credibility to the fact that it was an eminent medical authority who deals with it?
Can I
who was
touch on that
advocating
one?
this?
When an eminent medical authority advocated the commonsensical idea of isolating people with HIV and AIDS, it was when it was first discovered.
No, it was recently. I
was
heard it? Yeah, it was very recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Well,
was
how
recent.
eminent
Very
is this
recently.
guy?
And it was an Australian.
Maybe they should get this eminent medical authority and
But
get
it's
him
all
together with
fear-based, isn't it?
Come on, Geoffrey. How eminent a medical authority do you think this chap was?
Yeah, see, well, I find that all fearful anyway. It's
an easy solution.
It was an M&M medical authority.
You know, and I'm going to tackle democracy here.
Good on you.
Too, I think that that word is, I think, is a backward word to begin with.
Democracy is a backwards word.
Well, yeah, I think it is, because I think that this falls into that thing of democracy. So we create it.
The idiots get a say.
Yeah, I think
What's
so.
wrong with that?
No, I'm not saying that the idiots get to say. I'm just saying that democracy, I think the democracy we have is an old-fashioned democracy. I think we need to advance a little more.
It's no longer functional?
Yeah, which would bring a change to this type of attitude. That's what I'm saying.
Don't you think this is what's perpetuating the old-fashioned type of democracy?
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, the democracy we have is perpetuating that.
Well, how would you change democracy to reflect a better set of values?
Well, I think it's to do politically with people too, and I think it's where we are spiritually as people.
I think this panel's too intelligent to waste our grey matter on this man.
I was going to say, can't we just say
I'm confused.
This guy,
No, I'm not confused at all.
I'm confused.
No, he's
AJ.
No, he's an idiot, and
He's
I
an
think
idiot.
that sort of mentality is going to create mobs. It's going to create beatings, different things happening in the community because you have a voice. I think remove all your forms of communication. You should not be communicating with the world. You are an idiot, and honestly, you wasted time, you wasted electricity writing this email to us, and you should never have opened your mouth.
Okay, let's have a look at
democracy.
Democracy at work. All those in favour of locking up Paul of Balcatta and expelling him to the uppermost regions of Queensland, raise your right hand.
But I think it's
Right.
That's your left hand, Gary.
That's your
no.
For our people at home.
We're so democratic you can
For our people at home, got out of that one. When we come back, we're going to be teaching me which is your right and left hand and how to tie up shoelaces. And we're going to be talking about how to deal with freeloaders who land at your place at dinner time, strategically.
Switch off.
When we come back. See you soon.
You're watching the very exciting, slightly cheeky, Sweet and Sour.
Terrific. Welcome back. We're just chatting amongst ourselves. Dear Gary and panel, how do you deal with freeloaders? We've always been a hospitable family and I've always welcomed my children's friends. My children are in their 20s now and they mostly fend for themselves. I work full-time and my daughters are full-time students. We certainly try to have quality time around the dinner table as that's when we all manage to sit together. The growing problem is that some of their friends who have been living overseas for the past few years have returned home. Though it is lovely to see them, they don't seem to realise that our lifestyle has changed and quickened. They drop in strategically before dinner and expect to be fed. On top of that, they ruin the little family time that we have. I've tried to drop hints, but so far they remain oblivious. How can we deal with this situation? What's a tactful way of throwing them out and maintaining the bonds of my children's friendships? Elizabeth of Albert Park in Victoria. We're going to Joie first. I'm looking at the spelling of it. That's a really curious spelling too.
It is a French
Tell me
spelling,
about it.
by the way.
It's a French spelling.
It is.
Joie
de verre.
Okay.
The joy of life.
Ah, very cute, very cute, very cute.
Joy of life.
Oh. Okay,
I read
well,
a book with the beginning similar to that's a 1960s
Joy
book.
of life.
Joie de vie.
Among other things.
all right, well, with the letter,
Joy of sex or
the
something.
freeloaders,
Sorry.
I think that the parents need to explain to their children collectively or individually that it is family time, dinner time is family time, and the children, because these kids are adults, they're 20 years old or something, they need to explain to their own friends that it is their family time, and maybe what you should do just to kind of ease it off a little bit is say, okay, we're having a big barbecue for family and friends on Saturday, but thanks for coming over, but not right now. This time is family time. See you on Saturday.
So you'd take the subtle approach and say, you can't come in, we're having dinner.
I think there's boundaries that need to be put up because there's not enough time in everyone's lives at the moment. Everyone's so busy, everyone's overworked, all the rest of it. Plus,
Is that a good thing, that we're getting busier?
no. That's why you need to slow down.
Question is, should you be throwing them out or should you be correcting it back at home so that you slow down back at time you've got time for friends?
Yeah, but I think also the children need to set these boundaries for their own friends and learn these boundaries themselves because otherwise life gets a little too chaotic.
Boundaries, Jason, what do you say?
I say if you're in your 20s, Get out of home, losers.
Oh, but the trend is to swap back.
Yeah,
They're all moving back home.
I know a lot of them out there, and they tell
Housing
you,
prices
why
are
don't you just
expensive.
manage your money better? It's like, you go pay rent and buy a car and pay for everything yourself, then we'll talk about it. Anyway, that's not about them and me having...
My brother has two
angst issues.
daughters in their 20s who still live at home, or rather back at home, and they both did the European thing or the Japanese thing, as
Mate,
one of them did.
I reckon
and they moved back home.
I finished year 12 at 2:45 on a Thursday afternoon. I reckon I was out the door by about 3:30. Now, they drop in strategically before dinner and expect to be fed. Change dinner time. I mean, hang on, Elizabeth. You're from Albert Park. Aren't people in Albert Park supposed to be smart? If the kids are coming around at 5:30 because they know you have dinner at 6, have dinner at 5. Then they can strategically drop around and do the dishes. Work it out, Tiger. I reckon when I was a kid, we weren't allowed to talk at the dinner table. We all sat down and ate, and we had to chew everything 100 times, no elbows out. There was no talking until you finished dinner, and the first thing you said was, "Please, may I leave the table to do the dishes?" And then we started talking.
I remember those days.
Now, a couple of options. Change dinner time, make the kids come around and help you make the dinner so they can actually get to do some bonding around the kitchen as well. Make sure they stay to do the dishes, and then the next night you go to their house.
We like it. Come on, AJ. Do you like those suggestions?
Well, I do, but I also came from, you know, it sort of reminisced a little bit because we used to have friends always come over. My mum was quite open with the whole friends coming over, but at the same time, she was quite strong about, okay, you know, it's my family time now, get out, and everyone would be like, oh, all right, Mrs. Jones, and off they
Your
go.
parents are wondering where you are.
Yeah, and I mean, so they knew, but I mean, at the same time, sort of they came to her and confided in her, and I know that time, but they are young adults now, and I think either get your daughters to understand, maybe they haven't even thought about it, and if you go, hey, you know, this is probably not appropriate anymore, they might go, oh yeah, Mum, we agree, we wish they wouldn't come around all the time, how do we talk to them? You don't know, so I think put it out and just go, hey, do you think they're hanging around too much? Maybe make it just, hey, could your friends come around just on weekends, because, you know, I'd like to spend that time as family time. I don't think shut it out completely, but I think, yeah, just manage it so that you do have the boundaries.
Geoffrey, final word on this. Who's wrong here? Is it the freeloaders who turn up and that's their perspective? Or is it that life is just getting too quick and you don't have enough time for family and friends?
I don't care about any of those things. I think, no, I really don't. I think it's great that they all come over, because I was raised in that kind of communal thing in the late 60s with my parents, so we could bring anyone to the home. So I thought that was a terrific thing, and my mother was always prepared.
Of the age of Aquarius.
You know, so yeah. No, I think it's great to have all those people come. I used to have people coming, neighbours, kids from the streets. No, I think it's a good thing.
Bring them all in.
I know today's very expensive, though. It is. You know, but still. Yeah.
Geoffrey, which letter do you like tonight to give the pair of limited sunglasses away?
Well, yeah, I feel number 2.
Number 2?
Number 1.
Which one's number 1? Karen
poor
de Marlin,
woman.
the widow's sister.
Yes.
AJ?
Number 1.
Number 1,
Karen.
widow's sister.
Yep. I'm
Widow's
down with
sister.
Karen
Jace?
de Marlin.
Well, my vote obviously means little at this point, but I think you should give me the sunglasses so I can walk through Balcony without Paul recognising me. You aren't talking.
Coming out to Karen of Marland,
We're
a
going
pair
after Paul.
of limited edition sunnies, courtesy of Alan Treves and Aussie Opticals. We've got to go. Good night, Jace.
Good night, Mitch. Thanks for having us. And Karen, look, tell your sister. But thanks for letting me come along.
Good on you. Nice to see you. Joey, terrific to have you.
Thanks for
Enjoy
having me.
it.
It's been fun. It's been really great.
Come back
My
and see
first
us?
time. Of course I will.
Terrific. AJ,
Hi.
don't make it so long next time.
I
babe.
know, I promise.
Oh, and we'll see
I'll
you
see
soon
Monday.
as well.
Yeah.
Jeffrey,
Hi.
I'm looking forward to seeing your...
Angus thongs and perfect snogging.
I was going to say reviews, but that's
Oh,
good.
that's the movie, yeah, I'm doing.
Is that you're reviewing?
Perfect snogging.
Actually, have we discussed that? That's
Love
another
the
segment.
Not at the moment. We've got to get out of here. Thank all our wonderful panellists. Thank our terrific crew. Brendan, how'd you go on directing tonight? All right, thumbs up? Yeah, it looks good. And thanks for having us at home tonight. Good night, Australia. Bye-bye. Ciao.